Board meeting for October 12th, 2017, 7:30, no, we're gonna say 6:30 on the dot. So we're gonna stand and do the pledge. Mr. Elder, would you like to lead us, sir?
Oh, thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So now I would like to ask for a motion to enter into executive session to discuss matters leading to the appointment and employment of a particular person or persons.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Should we record that first and second?
I got it.
All right.
Okay. Did you get that? Was that 7:30? No, I asked for the motion. Al, and then second by Carl. Yep. And then goes up for your record. We went into executive session at 6:31. I asked for a motion. Al and Judy second. One that printed off. So we'll take the motion back in.
Peter, I got something for you.
What? Al and Carl. So we gotta enter back in.
You gotta go out and come back in. Peter.
All right, welcome. We will now open the meeting to public comments. Please go up to any part of the room. State your name and your address, and we'll go from there.
Peter, I thought you were bringing that podium in for us, Peter.
Jay said not to.
I had nothing to do with it. I didn't know, I thought you were asking if I wanted ice cream.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Walters.
Richard Walter, 20 Elm Street. I'm the chairman of the Webster Citizens Action League. With the changes going on at the sewer plant and the town sewer plant, we, as a Webster Citizen Action League, are very much in favor of keeping our own and keeping it updated rather than switching over to town, which there is some talk about. The board hasn't officially come out on any of this yet. I know it's being considered. We have prepared a brochure for the public that explains a little bit about the sewer plant, the history of the sewer plant, and are hoping and would like to request that you agree with what's in here and would also maybe let us, along with, we would intend to pass these out to the public, but also we'd like to have permission to put these in one of the brochure racks at the village hall so that the public not only can be informed about how to build a shed, but what's going on, and a little bit of history of the sewer plant. We don't come out, there's nothing in here denying any other sewer plant or anything. It's just a brief history and a little bit of information about the plant. So we would ask you guys to review this and maybe talk to us at the next meeting about this and see what your opinion is of a brochure informing the public about the operation of the sewer system.
Yeah, we can definitely review this, and I'll also like Daryl to look at it as well.
Why don't I give you
Yep.
Yeah,
one
just,
more for
yeah.
Daryl?
We'd like
You
to
can pass
include
that on
all
to
of the
him.
members of the board.
And on a like note, I've been wondering for quite a while, a good year and a half, 2 years ago, a cost-saving idea was brought to the village board, how to save a lot of money down at the sewer treatment plant, and that's putting in solar.
Yeah, we did.
for
talk about
and it was presented to the board, and nobody's heard anything since. If there's a way that we can put in some solar to save energy, this would also help the taxpayers by cutting the cost of running the sewer plant. And the way this was presented, I believe, was that the company putting it in would pay the whole expense of putting it in, and basically, we would get some of the benefit and they would get payments out of the energy generated. So if I remember right, but like I say, it was probably a year and a half, 2 years ago,
that.
and
That we,
it
yeah.
was supposed to save us a lot of money, but nobody's done anything. So I'd like the board to, if they could, look into that again.
Daryl was looking at.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, thank
Yeah,
you, sir.
Daryl was looking into it. I had no idea.
All right, looks like we're out of time. No, Mr. Elder?
I have a real quick one, it's really fast, so I have been responsible for the trick or treat trail for over 10 years. And I was actually out recently to sign merchants up, getting great reception again, as always. So I stopped at the village hall and I gave them 2 of the pumpkin flyers. And when you see these on the window, that tells you the merchant has signed up. So I just wanted to let everybody know that it's well on its way. I'll be signing more. Usually we get around 60 merchants involved. If it's a good day, most merchants go through like 1,000 pieces of candy.
Where are we at right now?
I'm about half signed up, but that's about normal, so.
Yeah,
So just to give you an idea, the event is on Saturday, October 28th. It's on East and West Main Street, and this year the streets are gonna be closed. So we won't have people dodging cars or traffic. The costume contest, costume contest is at 11 o'clock in the village meeting room, so a large meeting room right here next to us. And that's at 29 South Avenue. And I think the registration starts at 11, and then usually they start judging at like 11:30, right? Okay. So then prizes are awarded, and I already have a merchant that gave us a box of awards today. So we're hoping we can get even more. And the trick or treat trail lasts from 12 noon to 3 p.m. And the Webster Museum is doing something as well. So they'll have a Halloween at the museum. I believe the fire department is doing something too. Is that correct? There's an open house. Jake, I think, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so the open, so the fire department is doing their open house as well, and then the village has a wagon that goes around to the streets in the village and helps connect the different sections, east to west to north. So to give you an idea, usually Kittleburgers, I haven't had them signed up yet, but I'm thinking they will. Usually Kittleburgers is our most northerly spot. Our most westerly spot is usually like around Orville's. And then our most easterly spot is the Harmony House. So the village hall is pretty much right in the middle of all that. So it's so that's where the wagon will take you. Usually the wagon is pretty full, so we get a good amount of people on there. So and here's the schedule. I'll let you guys. There's a bunch of them on the counter. If you need any more, I know that Joe said she's going to revise it and put all the data up there for everybody. So thank you for doing that. And I think otherwise, it looks like it's going. Do you have any questions or?
No, thank you for doing it.
No,
Thank you.
I just really
I'm glad you do it.
appreciate
It's become easier and easier as the years have gone along, but it's the one event you don't have to advertise for, because they just know. I had somebody tell me the other, it was today, I went into Foley's, and I think Megan was there, and she said that she's having a baby shower that day, and her friend is going to be late for the baby shower to come to the trick or treat trail. I'm like, really? So, and the friend said it was a tradition that she always brings her kids, and that's why we just get people just mark in the last Saturday, the Saturday before Halloween, it just gets marked in and they come.
That's great.
So, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else tonight? All right, let's close the portion of the public section, and we're gonna move on to village board business. Suppose everyone had a chance to review minutes from the last meeting. Any questions or changes?
I didn't.
No? Good. And we're not gonna read through them, so I will ask a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
Trustee Lauer,
Aye.
trustee Lancy,
Aye.
trustee Belkane, trustee Polito.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, claims and warrants, I believe, Judy and Carl, you have the bills. Al, did you have any questions either? Nothing from either, you two?
No, nothing, I was just wondering, what happened to the Dolomite, bills that we didn't get from June
They
and,
never sent them to us.
isn't that weird? Cause they're not usually like that at all.
They had a glitch in their system back in that time. They
Ah.
had duplicated on 2 sets of invoices, which I caught. But then, like now, the owner or vice president or whatever called and has asked, why are these late? I said, I've never seen them before.
Wow.
You noted that on the bills.
Yes, I
Yeah,
did.
yeah, absolutely did.
All right,
Okay.
I will ask
Because I pride myself on not losing things, so.
I know, I know.
When something like that comes up, I'm not too pleased.
all right, ask for a motion. I'll make that motion. The claims and warrants.
Second.
Trustee Belkane,
Aye.
trustee Lauer,
Aye.
trustee Polito,
Aye.
trustee Lancy. Motion passes.
Discussion regarding resolution to master federal aid project for supplemental agreement number 2 for the North Avenue Connector project.
I think that, that's a placeholder. I think what the conversation that needs to take place before, and I wanted to double check with Don. I believe it's suitable for executive session because the village board has to decide what level of funding that they will approve, and which has to be announced before the bid opening, on the day of the bids. And it doesn't seem to make sense that we should, that the board would discuss that in public, because then I pretty much know where the bid will come in.
Don agrees, obviously, right, or no?
I don't know if it's considered a subject of negotiation or how it's.
Yeah.
Well, when you take the resolution, it's got the number in it.
Right.
So what difference does it make?
We've got to decide what the
Yeah,
number is.
The resolution is subject.
Well, we don't have to do this resolution now. So this resolution can kind of hold where it is. I talked to the gentleman from the state, that's not imperative that this resolution go. But at some point, the board will have to decide, I guess, what number that's going to
There's no-
be. This is kind of worst case scenario.
I don't see which category of executive session do you think this falls under?
I have not reviewed them to
Well,
the point
there's
that
one that's
you
the,
would have one.
well,
Help us out.
there's one.
Come on.
I don't think there is one, is the point. The proposed acquisition, sale, or lease of real property. There's nothing to do with real property. Proposed acquisition of securities. Village isn't gonna buy any securities. The sale or exchange of securities held by such public body. But only when publicity
Well, we're
was
borrowing.
substantially.
We're back, yeah.
Does that count?
He's got a butt in there, though.
The sale or exchange. Well, the discussion regarding how much money you're gonna bond, that's subject to a public hearing, in fact.
Yeah.
That's, I don't think those.
Well,
Want me to ask the state how the other people handled it? 'Cause it doesn't seem to make sense that you announce how much you're willing to pay for something before the bids come in.
yeah.
You announce it before you open
I
the
get what
bids,
you're saying.
but before somebody bids on it,
Yeah.
I know what to bid on. Yeah.
the price.
Yeah. We'll go up to 923,000, all right,
Well, you
922,
get- You
500.
get engineering estimates all the time for
Right.
public work projects.
Yeah.
Is this any different than an engineer's estimate?
I guess in that regard, probably not. I've never, I guess, been involved in a project where you had to announce it before, so you had to decide what you're gonna pay before.
Well, when you say announce it, what do you mean?
At the bid opening, before the bids are open, the village has to announce that they have X amount available for construction and X amount for construction inspection.
So that's not gonna change.
No, I mean,
It hasn't been decided what that's gonna be, first of all.
Yeah, there was the initial submittal, that put the total project at $1,054,000. Since that, then they did the design, and the scoping and the design and the engineering, now the final engineer's estimate puts it closer to 1.223, if that's with all the, alternates. We have 2 deduct alternates, so we can approve funding up to that, we can approve funding up to that level, or they can approve somewhere, you know, or approve somewhere in between, so that, you know, if it comes in, you know, if they approve, you know, 1.1, then we can, if it comes in at 1.12, we could take off some of the deduct alternates, and there's 2 identified in the bid package, to try to see if that gets it under the amount that, the maximum amount that the board, cited on.
When's it anticipated that the work will start?
I believe it said not to begin before March, and they wanted to end in July. We talked about certain dates on that too. We had a meeting the other day with the engineer, me, Matt Chatfield, and a representative from the engineering firm to try to figure out where some of the numbers, make sure we're all on the same page of where the numbers came from, how it went from A to B to C, and how the bid changed through the process, or the estimates changed and grew. So, like I said, this one doesn't, I talked to the gentleman from the state, Greg Ekstrom, that's managing it, is a local liaison to the project. It doesn't have to be done now, but at some point, I don't, you know, what number to, so we, I guess I know what number to announce at the bid opening, we've got to have available. So if that's something I can try to.
So you're asking us to table this for now, or?
Well, I guess, yeah, and I don't know if it's, again, I wasn't certain on the executive session, because I didn't see that it was specifically spelled out, but it seemed like it made sense in some regard, but I didn't know how you go about that, and how you get there, from here. Like I said, you know, your Don pointed out that if there's a bond resolution, the bond resolution is gonna have to have the total anticipated project cost, which it already did, but now if that number does change,
Then that has to change too.
then that has to change too. So we'll have to do a new bond resolution. I think we can do that after, because
Yeah.
construction, we're bidding it in the winter, and construction's not gonna start until March or April, so we won't incur any bills till.
Then I wanna get that in place by January, no later.
Yeah.
Give them leeway if they should need it for whatever reason. Because they need at least 30 days. Because then we have to publish it in the paper again. And then 30 days before they can provide funds for us. So we really should have it all locked down by the very middle of January, the very latest, so that we're not strapped for cash if need be.
Well, we're looking at a bid opening date now. It has to go to bid within, I think it was 90 days or 120 days. They referenced that it has to go to bid, be advertised November 1st with a bid opening on November 21st. So by that time, we would have.
So by January, we should definitely
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, we'll
get
have-
them on board.
Yeah, and you know, hopefully it would be nice if it comes in different.
Doesn't the state DOT, aren't they requiring this resolution before you open bids?
No, they're requiring this resolution before they'll fund, or they'll pay. So when I talked to him, I said, does this need to get done right now? He goes, no, it doesn't have to get done today. You know, this was last week, or the week before. He's like, no, we can, because I questioned some of the numbers.
Why'd this ever get on the
Yeah.
agenda then?
Because I wanted to, as a placeholder, because
Yeah.
this came up, I wanted to get it on there because at some point we have to do it. But also a placeholder to have the discussion that we've got to figure out a number and make sure what numbers we're gonna include in there. So I think right now this number has this has kind of almost the worst, I guess the worst case scenario or the highest price. And these are in, you know, based on the engineer's estimate. Yeah. Because it has construction inspection in there as well. So it has, no, this does not share, have construction, yes, it does have construction inspection. But we've got total current cost in this, without the different alternates, is 1.123, and the total project cost, if everything was included, all the alternates and everything, is at 1.223 for the total construction cost. And I, you know, if you want to talk about it, and I don't know if we want to talk about it now. Like I said, we did have a meeting the other day to try to figure out how the project developed, how it grew, how these numbers. Because in talking to Matt, who's obviously been in engineering for a long time, and as they do scoping, and then they get to design, and they have, you know, 80% and 90%, 95% when the plans, you know, they'll look at something and say, all right, we've got this long, about this wide, this is how long it is. Then when they get to 95% plans or final plans, he says, then they start drawing the shapes around each thing and say, okay, these are the actual numbers, you know, so you'll see in estimates, you know, it's 372 cubic yards of something, now it's down to, you know, 275, or vice versa. Things changed when they narrowed it down and got it a lot closer and tightened things up. One of the things that the biggest feature in here is Matt was the one that put together the bid. And again, it was based on, he did it in 2014, and he worked on the cap study, what their, you know, a lot of things that were recommended in the cap study. He included in his original estimates, he said about $70,000 in lighting. If you look at the engineer's estimate today for the lighting, we're at about 321. You know, with mobilization and contingency, there's 19,000 in contingency, and I think mobilization is about 14 in those figures. No, 12. But we're, you know, it's that lighting component alone is up to 321. And so when we were meeting, that's one of the things that came out. Matt said that one of the glaring differences here is that is the lighting. Because I didn't, you know, I envisioned 3 or 4 more poles down there, but when we had the design people go through and look, and their recommendation is that lighting, and then we went back and addressed the lighting and looked at it and dropped it down from 46 lights to 31 lights, but it's connecting that corridor. So that was an important piece, and that's, they felt, you know, we'll achieve what we were looking for.
70 is a very late number.
Yeah, and, yep. So, and it got up, you know, again, 320, and there was another difference in the June estimate. There was a June estimate, a July estimate, now finally an August one. It was the tightest one. The August one included, there was excavation, it was a conduit. They had conduit, and they had other excavation, but they didn't have the trenching for the conduit in there. Like 3,400 feet of trenching. It's a very similar item, pay item number and everything else, but somehow that was not on one, and that's not a small amount of 54 grand. And again, these are the engineer's estimates. They looked at the pay item, you know, we can go through and I can type these in online, see what the current bids, what bids came in, and that's their best guess. But in reality, it kind of looks like.
All right, we'll put this aside for now.
But, you know,
Not for too long though,
No,
Yeah.
you can't. I know.
because before long, we're into the holidays too, which everyone is on sparse time at that point.
You know, I think we move forward with your and Matt's discretion, so.
I think at the next meeting, I think it's time, and maybe we could try to find out what, because I've mentioned this to the state before about talking about it, and if they've got some information for me, it'd be great to have. I mean, obviously, you want to, if somehow you could share it with the public, but plug the ears of the contractors that are going to be bidding on it, that'd be a deal.
That's
But I don't
kinda,
know how you manage that.
All right.
So, but I'll get more information about that, but if we could, I'd like to try to look at approving the legal, the bid documents together. That's not really gonna change.
So these dates on the notice to bidders are accurate?
No.
No?
What, the 20th, that notice of
November
bidders, it
20th.
should say the 21st.
Oh,
That's a Tuesday, November 21st.
okay.
And I believe everything else
And this is still going in November 1st?
should go November 1st, and that's, if we put it in after the next meeting, this was the 26th, and going that Friday, if they miss it, it's bad news.
Yeah.
So I'd almost like to see if we put it in the week before, and then, God forbid, if somehow it gets missed or dropped, then we still have, you know, maybe we stand there and make sure we write it in ourselves or something.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
but that's one of the legals, because of the federal aid project, they can't be skipped, because there's the timing of when we're authorized to proceed with construction or the bidding and stuff like that, so.
So what do you need from us with this tonight, Aiden?
I guess, yeah, resolution to accept the notice, or to approve the notice to bidders and insert it into the paper on or before November 1st.
Good with that, Don?
Just look good.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll ask for a resolution for the notice to bidders to be in there on November 1st.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Belkane?
Aye.
Trustee Lauer?
Aye.
Trustee Alito?
Aye.
Trustee Lancy?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Jake,
Yes,
the whacker.
yes, sir.
No hacker.
Yep.
Not you, I meant the.
Yes, sir. And we talked about it at the workshop.
Yeah.
And we
Yep.
want to vote on it at the workshop, but I'd like authorization to sign the documents necessary to facilitate the purchase of that meeting.
What was the final cost of that again?
That's what I'm just,
Is it 60?
we didn't do the transfers the last one, did we? And I did not bring that with. I will find that in one moment. Sorry.
We can add it to the modifications for this meeting.
What's that?
We can add it to the modifications
Oh,
for
yeah,
this
she's
meeting.
still gotta do that.
Yeah.
I thought it was up at the last one, and
Or was it?
that's, yeah.
I think,
We saw that.
Someone have the minutes from the last meeting?
I think we did just approve it.
I have, oh, here, yeah.
No, I don't understand.
There was.
There was authorization to sign the letter, at the last meeting, the letter of intent.
No.
No.
No. No, just that was the digester.
I think he told us the value was 65.
Yeah, it was about 65 altogether, this one I get to write, you know, I can't, I guess, do a resolution for about, though. So it was 17,000 is what they were offering for a trade-in, value on our skid steer. Which, remember, we bought that for $24,000 in 2011.
Yeah.
I'm just looking here, I apologize, they should have brought this, I thought it was in the last. Alright, no, this is a little 182. I could run down if there's something else that we can, no, that's the last one, no.
That's got a lot of stuff. Don, do you have anything? Like, what you are up next?
No, the trial in the con case is gonna start March 21st. March
Wow.
2018.
That's sir.
That's it.
For this resolution, can't you just say not to exceed 65 grand? Which is not more than 65, because we talked about that. I
Yeah.
just can't put your finger on it, so we'll just say
Yeah.
not to exceed $65,000.
I think that's fair, it was.
So I asked for a resolution to authorize Jake Swingley to sign documents for the purchase of the Wacker WL32 wheel loader with attachments from Edmar Supply, not to exceed $65,000.
I make that motion.
It had better been 64,000 some odd dollars then. If it's $65,001, you don't have your authorization to buy.
It was definitely, it wasn't above, because we had talked about the
So it was
modification.
64 or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't remember, so I'm gonna go.
I've never seen any of it, so I don't know. I just want to make sure.
Well,
that-
then he has some room to
That it is.
negotiate the price down again.
Okay. Well,
It's a better deal.
There you go.
Say that's all I have.
they
All
can
right,
give
I
us an
found
extra
it.
dollar for the old one.
I almost have it here.
I forwarded it, I thought I forwarded the information to everybody.
Yeah.
I'm claiming all of you. Updated piggyback quote, here we go.
Yeah. 64.
Stand by. All right. Drum roll,
Give me back my glass.
It's right here.
64,650.
Yeah.
49 plus 467 plus 16 minus 52 gives me, and it didn't total
75?
it up. You
64,
got these numbers?
750.
It's 64,650. This one, the one I sent was total, 64,650, 4,900, 467, 16,757, and then subtract 5,032.
So.
Isn't that 16,000 being subtracted too, because that's
No,
the
that's-
trade?
Trade-in?
Nope, and then subtract 17 off of
Right.
that. It's a total.
Total 17?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
64, 742.
So 64,650 plus 4,900 plus 467 plus 16,757. That's for the big, awesome blower. Minus 5032 minus 17,000. Give me what we need.
So what's the total, sir? You gotta be all confused.
64, 742.
64,650. Would have been way faster. to
I have it right here.
Grab it.
All right.
64, 742.
He's got it in his hand. The whole thing, the whole time, sitting right here.
No, I just found it.
Okay,
I think I had last month.
We're good.
that's where I put it.
We're good. Did anyone make that motion?
64, 742. I make that motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Trustee Lauer,
Aye.
trustee Lancy, trustee Belkane, trustee Alito.
Aye.
Motion passed.
I'm like, does he really have it sitting there?
I
I'm
just
very
got it
sorry.
out. I didn't know it was there. Last month's number.
Yeah, we did Don, so let's jump over to the office. Comp and overtime.
Did you have a chance to look at that, sir?
Yes, there's, I don't know if there's any questions on the
Yeah.
time report.
Did anyone have any questions? Comp and
No.
overtime? No.
Time's just going off.
Questions?
Ladies up next.
So the first one on the list is the one I emailed about earlier in the week about the band. Shame on me for not being proactive and throwing it into the budget for this year. But I honestly thought they took care of it and nobody asked for more money. So if you don't give me a budget, I'm not gonna include it in mine.
Exactly.
But Marcia Knockham was in and she was all afraid that they wouldn't have any money to pay for any of this. I said, no, don't worry, we'll just move it in. So from fund balance to music, shirts and awards, the Village Band's 50th anniversary bank is taking place today. So before it finishes, we have to approve this. The 2017 village budget allotted for the banquet for the same dollar amount as above, those funds were never used. This modification allows for the village to pay for the banquet. Secondly, Jake and I were discussing, they would like to purchase a section hose for the sweeper to allow for efficient leaf removal services for our residents, and this will also allow for catch basin cleaning without using the aging backhoe. So that would cost approximately $5,000. Excuse me, it'll cost about $6,600. There's some money already in the operation maintenance of equipment line, so we're taking $5,000 from the DI repairs line and moving it to operations maintenance of equipment in order to allow for that purchase.
And the transfer, there's no net increase to the budget they were
Yeah.
asking for in this, but it's an attachment suction for the back of our street sweeper, which we didn't get originally because we have a back on. But, you know, a big part when we're out there doing the DIs is be able to clean those out. Frankly, I'd rather beat up a $5,000 part than a $300,000 bag now, so. And it's more, we've got it here, we can also use it for leaf pickup, not primarily, but if we, we still have our leaf bag, but this will be something that we can, certainly try or send somebody else out, send another crew out, seeing how that works.
And then finally, the budget modification to allow for the purchase of the whacker loader. I believe in an email, I think I discussed the fact that at this point in time, we're at 50% fund balance. With this purchase, it'll bring it down to 47%. So the modification would read, from fund balance, $65,000, account 010009090000 to equipment 01055112 for $65,000 to allow for the purchase of the whacker loader.
Thank you. So we are gonna need to ask for a motion, I take it, for these general fund budget modifications. 1,000 from the fund balance to music, shirts, and awards. 5,000 from the DI repairs to the operation and maintenance of equipment. And from the fund balance, 65,000 to the equipment line, 65,000 for the purchase of the whacker loader. Can I please have a motion?
Make a motion.
That motion.
I'll second it.
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm thinking it's Judy and Carl. Sorry.
Trustee Lancy,
Aye.
trustee Lawler,
Aye.
trustee Belkane, trustee Polito,
Aye.
motion passes.
Christine. Jake,
Yes.
I think you've said enough tonight.
Perfect.
Got what you wanted.
Do you have anything else?
No, these are falling, we're getting geared up for that, we're busy. The cell tower's going up, obviously, we had their inspection. We're talking to the engineer right now, with the company that did the inspection, is also they're suggesting a twist and plumb survey on it, and it's about another $1,100. I think that line's already kind of spent, so I'm arguing with them a little bit because they said they would inspect. There's a tower inspection or tower specification criteria, and that was one of the things in there. They said they were going to inspect it for that criteria, and if that's one of the components of it, I'm arguing with them a little bit, saying,
Don't you
he did
survey
inspect it.
before you do it, not after?
No, the survey, this is a different type of survey. There's an instrument survey that tells you where the lot is and where all the pieces, and then they can stake it all out according to the survey. This is basically, they'll go up and shoot and see. There was some discussion on the the plumb, and there's tolerances where it doesn't have to be, there's each section to section, and there was a discussion that it was twistable at the top. His initial response was, yeah, just, there's a lot of pieces in this thing, and all of them, the inspector just make sure they know when they're setting their azimuths and where the antennas are gonna be pointing so that they get them right if they're accounting for that. And then he came back and said, yeah, he would suggest getting this inspection done. Like I said, I'm arguing with him a little bit. The work, we got clearance work can continue on there, and it's not gonna prohibit anything if they continue working on it. So let's keep going on it while I keep arguing with him, and then we'll see what we do. I think it's, we gotta get it done, so.
Thank you.
We'll keep plugging along.
That's it?
That's it.
All right, Al, do you wanna do the announcements piece?
I think Peter took care of that.
Yeah, but a good reminder.
Trick or Treat Trail, Saturday, October 28th, East and West Main Street. Costume contest in our community meeting room. Starts at 11 o'clock and ends at 11:30 when the judging begins. Trick or Treat Trail starts at 12 and goes till 3.
There's a multiple judges. Peter's a judge.
Would you like to judge? Yeah, we're always looking for
See
judges.
Joe, she's taking the sign.
I like that answer, Carl. Yes, we can use
Judy's a judge
volunteers.
sometimes too,
No,
right?
no,
Oh, I've judged in
She
that.
does, she does sign it.
I
Oh.
sign in the
Yeah.
kids, I have more fun.
I eat the donuts.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
help you.
And our next village board meeting is 10/26.
And what
Village
about
board workshop, 2BD.
undetermined?
Okay.
You didn't want to have it on the 31st.
No, I
Right.
can't do
So,
that.
what did, Jake, weren't you gonna check about November 6th? For the
that-
CSBA?
Isn't that election day?
All that, and we're gonna do
Yes,
that?
it is.
Anyone follow up with
Yeah,
that?
it's because
You talk about them coming into the meeting?
Well, we were gonna do a workshop maybe with them.
Yeah, I sent that email, now I gotta see if I did get a reply.
Just because I'm pretty sure there's voting here.
Yeah,
There is.
there is, yeah.
Yeah,
I think we said the Monday. Was that the 5th maybe?
All right.
Of course, he's got,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
one,
One more thing, and I think we
No,
can bring
time's
up at the next meeting, I'll talk really fast. The electric vehicle charging station, I sent out some
Yeah,
information about
yeah.
that. As you know, we're looking at this Clean Communities grant, or program, Clean Community Program. It's a $50,000 grant. We have to do 4 of the 10 high impact items. This would qualify as one of the things.
So would the next, on the 26th be good enough?
Yes, because I did want to confirm, I talked to Clancy, who talked to the lady that he was getting, the company he was getting the quotes from, where it was on sale or having a sale. He tried to get 4 or 5 different companies giving quotes, and there we got one. So I say, you can do what you can do, we try to quote them. But that, what, from his other research, this is pretty good. Dual pedestal, and I think what we talked about now, he was originally talking about getting a dual pedestal electric vehicle charging station and a single one to use in another location. I said, why don't we just get the one dual one that'll qualify for the step, plus get it going here. He's finalizing, so I said, we gotta get final numbers. We know what this is $3,100 basically for the station, which is on sale. I think he indicated it was about a 40%, isn't that what he said, about 40%? So
If we
the
get it
one-
by the end of the month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and so
that's
the
what I
26th should
thought
give
I
us time, he
remembered,
said, yeah, she said she'd still honor it. We're finalizing what the install and the different pieces are, so I find out this is $3,100 and then it's $8,000 to put it in, so. We were hoping to have those numbers, the guy couldn't get them back to us, so I'm gonna try to get that for the next meeting if we can.
So Josiah, you put that on the meeting agenda for the 26th?
Yes. What about the
Probably authorization for,
workshop?
no, we have to have
No,
it before
gotta
the end of
be-
the month, so,
gotta be board.
so that board,
Okay, and when do you want to have the workshop?
I don't wanna have them, but, and once the board wanna have it, I'll have to. I did
November
not hear
6th is
back-
a Monday.
right,
Yeah.
seventh election.
Talking about.
So it's up to you guys, I will not be here the 6th of November because it's my daughter's birthday, so. I gotta take her to dinner. But if the rest of you would like to meet,
how long do you spend in McDonald's?
she has chosen, I don't even know, sir.
I know the verb, no, don't be McDonald's.
So the rest of you guys wanna meet?
What day?
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
11.
Just give some couple options.
The 11th, you said?
6.
It's not really up to Jake, we should.
Check with the mayor, see what his schedule's like.
Be
Because
back
you won't be here.
Saturday.
Yeah, he'll be back on the 15th, so.
Yeah, so we can set that meeting here, you guys can set that meeting on the.
The 26th.
The 26th.
All right, let's set it on the 26th if you wanna add that to the agenda. Josiah.
And one other thing you guys had asked us to talk about is the RG&E potential of the streetlight purchase. We reached out to RG&E about meeting coming in on the 26th, and they work till 4 o'clock. So they will be available during the day at some other times. So I don't know if anybody, if obviously you can't get a quorum together, or 3 board members together, but if
You
there's
got the 3
might be a-
retired, you got the 3 retired.
well, we can only use 2.
I can be there. Well,
So,
it's in the afternoon, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll set it,
Yeah.
maybe I'll send an email, see what your availability is, pick a few days, and then we can even see if we can.
Yeah,
I'm available any
If I
afternoon.
got enough
Any
numbers.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be great to have a couple.
I'd like to talk with you.
Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, especially
Thursday,
your
Friday,
background would be
for me.
beneficial.
I could be good or bad.
Yeah, and we, honestly, there's a couple different companies too. There's Wendell Energy and there's another company that are expressing interest in helping with that process. I know with the disclosure, non-disclosure thing with RG&E, I'm assuming we can share that with consultants, just have them sign off. So if there was, they're kind of looking at a proposal of what to send over. So that's a work in progress, but if we can try to get them in here one day, I'll try to get a couple of dates. Okay.
But I just mentioned about the Veterans Luncheon, November 11th, and that's going to be coming up quick, right after the Sugar Creek Trail. The luncheon will be on Saturday, the 11th, but last year, and the office is closed, everyone's off that Friday, the 10th. Last year, the board switched their meeting to this room so that on Thursday we could set up the big room for
Yep,
luncheon.
we can do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Good suggestion. Thank you.
And we'll need volunteers for that too, helping us with
And you
that's
already,
okay.
no, I'm
Yeah.
gonna eat.
I could probably do that as well.
I'm eating.
yeah,
You guys can
The
serve me.
luncheon, well, they start down at Veterans Park and do a quick ceremony down there,
Yeah.
right? And by the time they're done and walk up the room.
All right. If no one has anything else, Shannon,
I'll make it.
second.
Trustee
All right.
O'Kane,
Aye.
trustee Lancy, trustee Alito,
aye,
trustee Lauer,
Hi.
ended 8:17.
8:17.
Nice job,
Yeah, good
Jerry.
job, Jerry.
Nice job.
We're proud of you
Okay,
guys.
Yeah.
You're- I'm gonna take a year off.